Hello everybody, how's it going? We're talking about the top 3 most popular fragrances that I smell on both women and men on a daily basis, all right? So these are good fragrances if you're somebody just getting into this and you want something that you know is going to smell good and other people around you are going to enjoy. But if you're somebody that wants something more unique, then I would totally stay away from these recommendations, all right? So we're going to start with the ladies. In the first spot, I don't have the bottles, unfortunately, to kind of showcase to you, but the most popular fragrance that I smell is Chance by Chanel. So I am not surprised that Chanel is a fragrance house that I'm smelling a lot of, just because in general, Chanel is known to kind of be like the top designer house. So whenever people go looking into fragrances, they kind of look for the name brand first, and then they'll kind of smell what they like from there. Now, Chance is a more youthful offering from Chanel, and it does still smell good. It is a little bit more floral, but more fresh as well. It's a good scent, but for me, there's just a lot of other things that kind of smell like it. So I'm just not the biggest fan of it, because it just kind of lacks a little bit of that uniqueness. But like I said, if you are just going for compliment factor and you're going for something that you know is going to smell amazing on you, then Chance is a good one to pull for. In second place is Levia by Lancome. All right, that fragrance I smell on the youth and women that are over 40 years old. You know, it's one of those fragrances that if you buy it or if you're gifted it as a teenager, let's say you're 17, 18, it's a fragrance that will still suit you really well when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's just a timeless, classic sort of scent. Now, it's also floral, but it has a touch of sweetness in the dry down that's pretty alluring. Now, if I may make a recommendation, I would say if you want that fragrance, also look into Mongerlan Edp, all right? In my humble opinion, this is the queen of regality and just classiness when it comes to standard designer perfume. I have never called this fragrance sexy, because to me, it's just so beautiful. So if you're somebody that's kind of transitioning from the teenager type of fragrances like Pink Sugar, and you want something that's going to be taken a little bit more serious, that's going to have just that sprinkle of pizzazz and maturity, but not like mature, like a grandma type of mature, but something where it's like, okay, like this is a woman's fragrance. You know what I'm saying? Then I would highly recommend Mongerlan Edp over Levia, just because it isn't worn as much. All right. In fact, maybe I should do a video. Let me know what you guys think, if I should do a video on the most popular fragrances and what I would recommend instead. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think about that. All right. In third place, wrapping it up for the ladies, is Chanel number 5. We got 2 Chanels on this list, and I was actually going to put Chanel number 5 in first place, but let me kind of give you my explanation as to why it's in third. So it's a fragrance that honestly I believe is the most popular perfume in the world right now. That might be a big statement to make, but anybody that's walked into Sephora, Ulta, Macy's looking for perfume has definitely seen Chanel number 5 and has at least tried it or smelled it on somebody. You know what I mean? It's just one of those fragrances that even if you are not into perfumes, somebody you know has worn it, or you yourself have tried it. You know what I mean? It's just very, very popular. But the reason it's in third place is because I smell it more on the older demographic. So we're talking about 40s plus. And unfortunately, to me, I get that it's kind of like a classy, not classy, how do I say this? Like a classic, sort of a traditional, that's the word I'm thinking of. It's a traditional sort of fragrance. So it's a bit too powdery for my liking, a bit too mature for my taste. I see it more on the older demographic, and I don't really hang out as much with the older demographic in comparison to other people in their like 20s and 30s, you know what I'm saying? So with this younger generation, I think that the smell of Chanel number 5 is kind of associated with like their moms or their aunts or their grandmas, so they're kind of staying away from that. And like I said, a more youthful offering from Chanel is Chance, so you're seeing a big surge of more women rocking Chance by, not Chance by Chanel number 5, Chance by Chanel. All right, so those are the top 3 most popular scents that I am smelling. I'm very curious to know what it's like in your guys' area. All right, so on the masculine side, 3rd place, Acqua di Gio, the original. All right, the white clear bottle. It's not really clear, it's kind of a bit cloudy, but that fragrance has never disappeared ever since I hit adolescence. Like by the time I turned 13, when I became a teenager and boys found out, hey, you know what, if I wear cologne, girls are gonna like me, the amount of Acqua di Gio that was smelled in my lifetime is crazy. So for me, I get why a lot of people reach for it, because to be honest, when I was that age, a lot of younger guys would go to their dad's cabinets and spray on his Acqua di Gio, and they would kind of rock it, you know what I mean? So like, it's a fragrance that I've smelled on both dads and sons, so for me, I'm a little bit tainted with it just because like of how much I've smelled it oversprayed on a teenage boy that does not know how to apply a fragrance. So it ends up kind of turning people away, then drawing people in. But if you apply, a good amount, a tasteful amount of that fragrance, it is a very nice, refreshing, aquatic fragrance. And it's super, super popular. You know what I mean? It's one of those scents that if you've never tried a cologne and you spray it on yourself, you'll be like, oh man, this is nice. It's easygoing. It's a great dumb reach fragrance. The only downside with Acqua di Gio is the performance is ass, all right? So don't be surprised if it only lasts like a couple hours on your skin. If that's the case, you can overspray it if you want to, but please don't overspray it if you're going to be in a contained room with somebody else for long periods of time, like a car or in a classroom, things like that, or in a work environment. You know what I'm saying? All right, 2nd place is the only bottle on this list that I have in my collection, and it is Bleu de Chanel. All right, and I am not going to get into the specifics of the concentration of these fragrances, because whether you rock Bleu de Chanel EDT, EDP, or Parfum, it still smells like Bleu de Chanel, all right? So for me, this is a total uncle fragrance. I probably know about like 3 to 4 uncles, my own uncles, that rock this scent, and then there's also a lot of other like TOs that I've smelled this on, and guys in college that are like, okay, you know what, I want a sexy, more mature fragrance. And then a lot of them pull for this. And it's not the fault of anybody, because if you walk into Sephora, you will probably see like a big stand in the very front of Bleu de Chanel. And then if you and your partner go walk up to the sales associate and ask, what should I buy for my boyfriend? Or what is the best cologne you have here? More than likely, they will take you to Bleu de Chanel. You'll smell it and be like, oh wow, that smells nice. And it does. Like, it's a grapefruit fragrance. It's timeless, it's classy. It's one of those scents that that if you got it when you were in your 20s, if you rock it as a grandfather, you are still going to smell good. It is not going to smell outdated by any means. I really think this is a fragrance that you can wear for a lifetime, and no one's going to be like, oh, that's a grandpa scent. You know what I'm saying? So it just has the versatility to kind of like move as like you get older, but not become like in like an old guy type of scent. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Bleu de Chanel, nice. I just do not find this sexy at all because of my personal associations with this fragrance. Performance is pretty good. Like, we're talking over 7 hours. And it's just something that is a nice scent to build your collection around. Or if you want one scent for the rest of your life and you don't care about popularity, you don't care about rocking other colognes, you want something that's going to do it all, then you can go with Bleu de Chanel. All right. Oh, it's super hot here, guys. In first place, coming in number 1, pause the video if you want to and comment down below what you think it is. I'm going to say right now, Dior Savage. Dior Savage has had a chokehold ever since it came out, and I get it. Johnny Depp looks super cool in those commercials, you know what I'm saying? And if the sales associate doesn't take you to Bleu de Chanel. If you go into any of these perfume shops, they will take you to Dior Savage. So to me, this is kind of how I've associated it. Whenever an uncle or an older guy I know rocks Bleu de Chanel, 99% of the time, his son wears Dior Savage. So Savage is a nice, you know, fragrance with ambroxan. Like, it definitely pushes. It has good longevity, but you have to kind of be careful with that fragrance. Yes, it is very popular, and there's a reason why it's popular, right? But it kind of has come to that point where the smell of Savage has kind of like, has like a negative association with a lot of women out there. And let me just kind of explain, all right? So even the women that I know, when I used to have a bottle of Savage before I gave it to a friend, I had girls come and smell things in my collection. I'd have them smell Savage, and they would literally be like, this smells so basic. Every guy smells like this, you know? So I never got the reaction when girls smelled Savage where they were like, oh yeah, this smells so good, I love this. They were like, yeah, I've smelled this. Or they'll see the bottle, they're like, Savage, yeah, I know guys that wear that. So you just have to be careful, because if you buy that fragrance and you go on a date, the likelihood of you smelling like her ex, her father, her brother, or her cousin is there. You know what I'm saying? I remember I actually got a DM from a couple guys that had very similar stories, but he said, I just got into fragrances and I bought Dior Savage, and I literally smelled it on every guy in the club, and I returned it immediately. You know what I mean? So it is a fragrance that when you wear it yourself and you're not around other people, you're like, oh yeah, this smells good. But then when you walk into the room and you smell a majority of guys rocking Dior Savage, it kind of puts you off. It's like the same thing as having a really dope outfit on, and you go somewhere, like on a date with your girlfriend or whoever you're interested in, and like 8 other people in that room are wearing the same thing. You're like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the off-putting thing about it. Another story I heard is that this guy said he went on a date with Dior Savage, and he smelled Savage on another guy there on a date, and then his date, the girl he was on a date with, was like, oh yeah, you smell like my brother. You know what I mean? So nobody really wants to hear that if they are trying to pursue a romantic connection with somebody. You know, you don't want to smell like somebody's brother. You don't want to smell like somebody's dad. I understand that it's popular, but that is probably the one scent I would suggest guys to kind of look away from, at least right now, just because it is so popular. You know what I'm saying? I cannot tell you enough that like when I went to the club and when I would pass by a group of guys, like a group of like 6 guys, like 4 of them are wearing Savage, because during nighttime, like living that nightlife, that's when people want to smell good, you know, they want to be sexy, all that sort of stuff. But if a majority of people there wearing cologne are wearing Dior Savage, it doesn't stand out. So that's really the thing about it. Just be cautious, okay? I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance, because it does smell good, but in my area, it is overworn like crazy. Not taking away from how nice it smells. Again, if you wear it, please continue to rock it if you like it. But if you're somebody that does not have a cologne and you want to get started with something, if you live in Southern California, I would highly advise to look away from Dior Savage unless you want to be smelling kind of like a majority of guys wearing cologne. All right. Anyways, I'll put the names of the fragrances and discount site links in the description in case you want to save yourself some money and look into these fragrances. But of course, it's all cool if you don't want to. Please buy where you're comfortable. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.